Welcome to Valentine's Day.
Valentine nights.
Ooh, Valentine's nights. That's why we waited till this late.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody. This is the Grolix Podcast Valentine's Day special stream. I'm Randy.
I'm Melanie.
And I'm Jesse.
How's it going out there in the internet world?
Yeah.
Hey, so this was
Melanie. Peachy.
This was Melanie's. Oh Jesus! You're trying to Jesse. Jesse's the one that derails.
It's me.
I
do it.
That was an intentional attempt to not only derail, to go political, because he knows it doesn't take much to set Randy off.
It doesn't take much to set any of us off.
Yeah.
We set each other off.
So this stream was at Melanie's suggestion. On the last Grolix nights, we went long, as we always do, and didn't get a chance to get to our 10 killer couples in TV and film list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we're going to do now. Melanie's like, well, it's Valentine's Day's coming up. We should just do a Valentine's Day special.
Yeah.
So that's what we're doing.
Because we love you, so we'll give you a little more.
Right. Okay. I don't know how to. I guess we'll just jump right into the list, right? Hey, you know what? Real quick, this is going to be touching on some of the conversation we had before the live just now. But how's Valentine's Day going for everybody? Jesse, how about you? You do big Valentine's Day things?
We do no Valentine's things. I made breakfast.
Oh.
Ooh.
So
What'd
there's
you have?
An omelet. I made an omelet.
An omelet sounds so good.
Yeah. It was. I mean, omelets sound super fancy because they're French, but really it's just eggs and whatever you have laying around. So that's why we did omelets, because it's like we got an onion there. I'm gonna put a little bit of onion in this and some cheese and some salsa. Omelet.
That's not fancy. It sounds fancy enough for me.
Yeah. It was delightful.
That reminds me, I don't know, I'm sorry, or doesn't matter, but the other day I made ramen noodles and I'm like, oh, and I got some leftover fancy pork roast. I'm gonna slice that up and throw that in my ramen. Oh my gosh, it's like a gourmet meal.
Yeah, it goes from zero to gourmet. Eat your heart out, Gordon Ramsay.
I can tell this is not our normal time. Nobody seems to be ready to watch us.
Yeah. Well,
of course, it's Valentine's Day. Maybe people are doing special stuff.
They're special people.
This will be for the later time. This is be for the people celebrating late Valentine's Days.
Mm-hmm.
This special is for the people who are waiting for the chocolate to go on clearance.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's who this is for.
So, yes, feed your menstrual cramps and prepare your acne for chocolate binge.
Yep.
Jesse's got nothing on that.
I don't know how to follow that. No.
Randall, what did you do for Valentine's Day?
I woke up and you were here already because you were sleeping.
Yeah.
And I made microwave breakfast bowls, but I added cheese.
Whoa, that's kind of like omelets, because it's just eggs and cheese.
It is. And I also ate some of the big bag of Rolos I bought for you. That was my Valentine's Day gift.
Yes, which was a great Valentine's Day gift. I love Rolos, and it's kind of payback to me, lovingly, because
it's like
the previous Valentine's Day, he bought me a bunch of Rolos, and I took them home in a box, and I stupidly left them in a box, and my cat peed in them, so I did not get to eat any of my Rolos.
Yeah. So, hey Dana, what's going on? How are you doing? How's your weekend and Valentine's Day going?
Yeah.
We haven't. Other than that, we haven't really done. Did we watch something?
Did you guys watch the most recent WandaVision?
We did watch the most recent WandaVision.
Yeah. I was super pumped because Pietro is one of my, I am a big Quicksilver fan, and we got a lot of him in this episode.
Right.
And It was maybe the best Quicksilver I've seen so far, and I've liked most of the Quicksilver that I see, except for Avengers 2 was kind of lame Quicksilver, but he was fine. He was fine.
Yeah. I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked the episode. I mean, there's little bits of information, but for the most part, it didn't tell us much.
Right.
I mean, since we're just gonna run through that real quick, it definitely hit on people's suspicion of the director guy being up to something, being shady.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
As opposed to just being like a jerk military type agency guy.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Agnes, like we talked about how Agnes has got to be Agatha, but like now I'm starting to wonder if she's just not like a subtle nod after that last episode. It's like she knows more than she's letting on, but I don't know if she's gonna do or be anything.
Mm-hmm.
She still seemed affected by it.
Yeah.
She seemed like any of them.
Oh, I do have a theory. A
Mhm.
theory that's kind of spoilery. So if you haven't watched it, guys, just plug your ears for a minute. Monica Rambeau doesn't have powers yet in this MCU, but I think this is how she gets her powers, because they're like, you've passed
Oh.
through this, and her powers are light based, and she's passed through this barrier like a couple of times, and it's rewritten her cells.
Yeah.
I think this is how she gets her powers.
That's pretty cool.
Hey, Turner, what's going on, man? And Dana says he's having a great Valentine's Day weekend. He's in the middle of writing a paper for marketing class. You're taking a marketing class? Interesting.
Mm.
But we are providing him a nice break from that.
Good.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say about WandaVision. Sorry, I'm just jumping back into it.
No, it's fine.
I like that they addressed the children. Because that was a big question that I had
Yeah.
for a lot of it.
Yeah, kind of like
Where are all the
they
kids?
just weren't there until I guess that was Pedro's
Yeah.
part of his spiel.
Mhm.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
He's just ripping the Band-Aid off of all of the meta questions. He's just
Uh-huh.
like, yeah, so where you been hiding these kids?
Mhm.
And she's still playing like confused.
Mhm. Which she may be, or maybe, you
Yeah.
know, who knows. And I also liked the fact that on the edges of town where there aren't people, everybody was just like still. So it's like
Oh,
graphics that don't load till you go to that
They're
area
like
or
battery
whatever.
saver mode people.
Yeah.
yeah. Very much made me think of hi Savannah, by the way, happy Valentine's Day to you as well.
Mhm.
That very much made me think of games. It's like, okay, well, the assets are loaded, but the processes aren't running because they don't need to be until the players
Right.
wander over to that area.
Like when you're in Minecraft and you can literally watch itself building the world because it didn't have anything there until you walked over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. I like that quite a bit.
Mhm.
And it went like the effects were, I mean, whatever. It's the effects. It's the kind of effects where it's like those big energy TV tube static energy waves don't exist in real life, so it can look like an effect. But the effects were pretty cool, and I like the just again spoilers as it's expanding towards the end of the episode, just seeing the various things turn into 90s versions of those things.
Mhm.
Also, the Malcolm in the Middle style 90s family sitcom that it starts out as, spot on.
That was
Very good.
awesome.
Yeah, we actually had a conversation after wondering what they're going to do moving forward, though, because to my knowledge, there's not really any 2000s or 2010s family sitcoms that stand out with their intros, to make it feel like that time frame or what they're going to do there.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's just, I'm sure if we pulled up some, well, first off, after like the aughts on, single camera shows, and I guess that started a little bit with like Malcolm in the Middle, still kind of that style where it's obviously not on a stage in front of a live studio audience type deal. But the traditional sitcom, they're still around, not as popular. And I'm sure if we watched one, we'd be like, okay, yeah, that feels very early 2000s. But Like I can't think of specific traits that make it stand
I
out.
think
Mhm.
they could go like I think they can just hop now because like the 90s were so ripe for it that they
Mhm.
could hop to like a Seinfeld / Friends style show almost. So they could hit on that vibe. But yeah, I think they almost have to stick in that pool for a while and just dip around. I don't know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I mean, I at a certain point, they're just like, okay,
Mm.
Yeah.
here we are. It's the show.
Yeah.
We're caught up.
Speaking of.
Dana says
The show.
Dana says it reminds me a bit of the Truman Show. Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
That was my favorite bits, especially when anytime Vision is like, at this point, he's fully aware and he's playing along with her. There was there's this weird toxic relationship power dynamic
Mhm.
that we only get to see a moment, like a scene of, when he's like, well, I was gonna go do this, and she's like, no, you're not, you're gonna do this, and he's like, no, I want to go do this, just like stop controlling everything I do type thing.
Mhm.
And
Right.
she's like, oh, okay, she lets it be. Just interesting. I
Mhm.
like that, but whatever, that's an interesting bit of character stuff in Marvel, which is always kind of welcome.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so let's get to the show real quick. Though we watched Aquaman last night.
Yeah.
Oh man, what'd you think of that?
People are crazy. Okay, I looked at the reviews after. It's fairly well reviewed. I mean, the average is like three stars or something.
Yeah,
People are crazy. That script, it's a pretty movie. That script is
it's awful.
it's
Yeah, it is.
terrible. It's so bad. The movie is not good.
Yeah.
It's
No.
so bad.
Yeah, but that was kind of a Valentine's Day watch for Melanie because he's like, Aquaman, I don't know, and I'm like, it's got Jason Momoa. I'm down.
I know. Yeah, I saw it in theater. Not for me.
Yeah.
I mean, at least the theater thing, like the spectacle is the one thing it's got going. Like there's some amazing visuals.
Willem Dafoe, not my favorite Willem Dafoe.
Right.
No, but that
Dude was cashing checks for that one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, that character needs to meet a grizzled old lighthouse keeper.
Yes.
Also
please.
played by Willem Dafoe. I
Yes.
just want to see that play.
Any other Willem Dafoe character.
In fact, Aquaman in the lighthouse would be an amazing double feature to do.
Yeah.
Grog Cinematic Universe. Make
Oh,
that
yeah.
happen. All right, let's get on to the topic at hand. We've got a list here.
What?
List episode.
Yeah.
Oh man, list episode.
We've got a list here of 10 notable. Some of them 10 are favorite.
Maybe.
Favorite?
There's 10.
There's 10. We got a list of 10 things. 10 killer couples, psychopathic couples, and not ICP. Yeah, crazy killer couples from mostly movies.
Mm-hmm.
I threw TV in there, but actually, now that I'm looking at it, I don't think there are any TV shows in this list. And yeah, we're gonna run through it.
Okay.
You could consider this, I guess, top 10. I don't have these ranked in any order. I think it'd be kind of a hard list to rank.
Right.
Yeah.
So
And I don't even know if some of these truly are top 10. They're just the top 10 we came up with.
Well,
Right.
and for example, like we had Bonnie and Clyde, and then I was like, okay, well, we're up to 11. And I think you even made a joke, not even meaning like,
Yeah.
whatever. But we cut Bonnie and Clyde because that, of course, that's
Yeah.
so obvious.
Yeah.
That's their whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
There are a few that are still obvious, but they're not Bonnie and Clyde. So
Yeah.
Right.
I think that the first one on the list is actually the least.
I want to wait on the first one.
Yeah.
Just because that is in my mind, like the most unconventional. I don't think people would have thought. So, little clickbait. We're gonna make you wait.
Yeah.
What couple could we be thinking about, and why?
What could be our oddball couple here?
Listen, I can guarantee this couple's not gonna make it on any other.
Nobody else would have thought of this.
No,
It takes a certain depraved mind to come up with to make this connection.
right.
Woo.
Okay, sorry. Our headphones are very touchy, and I touched them wrong.
Yes.
Ooh.
Okay, but we're good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and jump on one of the more obvious ones.
Mm-hmm.
At least if you were alive in the 90s at all.
Mm-hmm.
That gives pretty much away right there.
Right. Mickey and Mallory. Mickey and Mallory Knox from Natural Born Killers.
Mm-hmm.
Again,
Yeah.
that's pretty obvious. After Bonnie and Clyde, that's one of the first ones that jumped to my mind.
Right.
Yeah.
Actually, I think that is the first one that jumps to my mind.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how. I guess we could just talk a little bit about the movies or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I don't know how to, like, if we're gonna rank this couple against that couple, like pros and cons. They're all like kind of awful people. So,
Mm-hmm.
although Mickey and Mallory are, I feel, more awful than some of the people on this list.
Really?
'Cause they're just nasty.
I
That movie's nasty.
okay. The movie is got some issues, maybe, but I kind of like the way it's set up because it's like, yeah, they're kind of bad people, but really they're more products of the world that they were raised in, you know?
Yeah, I
They-
mean,
they're horrible people because they're from a horrible place, you know?
yeah, Oliver Stone definitely, like, that movie takes that angle. That's that's a prime theme, especially, and I'm sure they play it with I'm sure it plays out with, I don't remember how Mickey is introduced, but Mallory
Yeah,
is definitely played that way.
right. Um, and I like it. And I like that even though they're evil, crazy killers, their love can transcend
Was
anything.
this kind of the era of like the anti-hero love interest kind of thing? Because it's maybe I'm wrong about that, but it seems like we'd get a lot of kind of off-kilter love stories in the 90s, like
A fair
even
bit
the
of it.
Romeo and Juliet even it was like,
Right.
hey, let's bring back Romeo and Juliet because this is the era to do it.
Mhm.
Yeah, you're right. And I want to say, like, not to, a good chunk of this list are from 90s
Yes.
movies.
Yes, definitely.
Not all of them, but a good chunk of them.
Mhm. So,
Natural Born Killers, you like that movie? A good movie, bad movie?
it's not like one of my favorites or anything, but I enjoyed it. It's very surreal,
Mm-hmm.
and stylized, I think.
I
So if
remember
you
really liking it back then, like when it came out.
Mhm.
I mean, like I was just like everyone else, I bought in pretty quickly on that
Mhm.
movie. Now, I don't revisit it a lot because it's not really happy-go-lucky. Like
Mm-mm.
it doesn't leave you with a good feeling.
No, not at all. I think it was maybe the first time that I realized that Woody Harrelson was trying to be anything other than, the
Goofy comedy kind of.
goofy comedy sidekick guy.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting.
They didn't care if that white man could jump or not. He had a
Right.
knife.
Right. Well, it is very against type for him too.
Mhm.
Right.
Can I suggest we jump from that one?
Yes, I know where you're going because of
Okay.
Savannah's comment.
But
Oh,
no, I didn't even see that.
what were you gonna?
No, I meant
I
not that one.
I was thinking
To that one. No, right, that one. Because that one also, I believe, has Juliet Lewis in it, does it not?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, and I'm not. I don't. I should have wrote down actors and actresses for each of these roles, but yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, Natural Born Killers is Juliet Lewis and Woody Harrelson.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen it,
Yeah, I'd say watch it.
yeah, I definitely would recommend it. It's a little rough. I mean, it's
Mhm.
very style. It does have substance. It's
Mhm.
not looking. The fact that it glorifies the characters the way it does is the point, but it's also like it knows that those are not characters to be glorified. So,
Mhm.
like, just be aware that it's a very kind of
Jarring.
jarring and sarcastic
Mhm.
movie.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, we will hit the one that we'll hit Savannah's in a moment.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go ahead and jump to Early and Adele.
Mm-hmm.
which is from California, spelled with a K, California, which is I feel like one of maybe the lesser known ones on here. Not that people don't know it, but it's not really talked about a whole lot. And it's a thriller with David Duchovny. I forget who plays David Duchovny's
wife
in
I
that.
don't remember either.
But they're not the bad couple. The bad couple is Brad Pitt and Juliet Lewis are very like kind of southerny
trailer folk
couple who end up hitching a ride. They don't know David Duchovny and his I should look it up, and his wife are kind of like a little bit more upscale city folk. And I don't remember how it comes about that they hitch a ride with them, but this is
do they qualify as killbillies?
I would say Brad Pitt's character does.
Yeah.
And listen, it's Brad Pitt playing trailer folk. It's great for that. David Duchovny's good. Juliet Lewis feels totally appropriate in that role.
Yeah.
It's not super stylized, natural born killers. It is played more thriller, like straight through. Natural born killers just has all kinds of stuff going on.
Yeah.
But this is more of a straight thriller type movie. And it's good. This feels like a little bit of a cheat because Adele, she's not a killer on her own. Like as opposed to like a lot of the other couples here, where each of the pair are kind of bad people. Spoiler. She's played a little bit like victim-y in this.
I would argue, unfortunate
or simple. She's played simple, and Brad Pitt is but Brad Pitt is not a good dude.
Yeah, I would argue that unfortunately in a lot of scenarios, I guess suppose real life too, which I shouldn't say unfortunately, but in a lot of these situations where it's killer couples, it almost always is the case where there's a woman who on her own probably wouldn't be a murderer until she hooks up with this guy, and then they go on a killing spree. That's almost always how it works out. And oftentimes in real life too, which is weird. But
right, Natural Born Killers does kind of play that way as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you seen California, Jesse?
I don't know if I've seen it all the way through. I've seen bits of it because it's been played on like cable and whatnot.
I shouldn't have put this headphone thing here. I'm so nervous to type. But 1 second, I want to pull up. I need to find out who the other actress is.
California.
Hopefully that'll be enough.
They know how to party.
California. Okay, I'm sorry, I can't help it.
And it's not Californication.
No.
California. Oh, whoever the other person is doesn't even get like cover art credit or cover art.
I can picture her I picture her face, but I don't know her name. That must be her then, Michelle Forbes.
Michelle Forbes. Okay, well maybe that's why we don't know, because she's not David Duchovny, Brad Pitt, or Juliet Lewis. That's why. She's good in it. But yeah.
Sorry.
It's okay. It's from 1993. Yeah, anyway, whatever. It's good. Check it out. I think I give that a recommend because it's a little bit more of a standard. It's not weird like Natural Born Killers, but it's pretty good, and a lot of people have not necessarily seen it.
Yeah.
All right.
Then I say jump to the next one.
Now we're going to jump to this one, and this I feel like is actually, because of time period of movie, is a California, and this would be a really good double feature. But all three of the ones up to this point, California, Natural Born Killers, and this would be just a good group.
Yeah, they were very
similar. And I would throw another one in there that's on our list, about 3 down.
Right. So next up is Clarence in Alabama. From True Romance, which is what Savannah said. I hope True Romance is on the list. Of course it is.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, Brad Pitt's in that too.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt is in that. He has the best line, which is, "Effing condescend to me
That's one of my favorite.
Condescend to me, I'll effing kill you, man. He's just this like couch stoner. He's just a dude who's on the couch all the time at this guy's house, and he's just a stoner. It's like such a bit part, but it's very memorable. Well,
kind of everything.
What year did this come out? Because California was no. Why was that? Sorry, I'm mumbling to myself. Came out the same year as California.
Wow.
Interesting. So yeah, California, Patricia Arquette and Christian Slater are the couple. And this was one of the few Quentin Tarantino screenplays that did not get directed by Quentin Tarantino. But it's a screenplay by Tarantino, and Roger Avery and Tony Scott directed it. And we talked about this, Jesse, on
GCU number 22. I'm actually looking it up.
Nice.
Yeah, in fact, I will put it in the chat.
Awesome. We talked about this and was it Pulp Fiction? I think.
Yeah.
But it's super interesting. One of the things I remember us discussing a little bit was watching the script. You can tell is Tarantino, but the direction is not Tarantino, and you can also tell. So it's a very interesting kind of. It's not jarring, but it's weird. It's weird. It feels like Tarantino light for sure. Not that the directing is bad, but Tarantino has so much more of a directorial flair.
Yeah.
I don't know why an F-bomb wanted to slip out there.
So many great characters. Like that's the thing about this movie for me is that like it's crazy who's who of Hollywood at that time. Right. And then they all play such bonkers, memorable characters. Like even like we were saying, Brad Pitt, he does almost nothing in the movie, but he's so memorable.
It's one of my favorite performances of his, and he's in like 2 scenes, maybe 3. But yeah, it's got a. Was that out loud?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. I suddenly realized, no, my speakers are turned down. It's got Christopher Walken. It's got Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman, Tom Sizemore, which he isn't in stuff anymore, but he's always interesting. Michael Rappaport. Yeah, it really is like a who's who of like Hollywood at that in 1993. James Gandolfini. Thank you, Savannah. Yeah, no, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. So the couple itself, they're criminals, or he's a criminal.
It depends on your definition.
He's a smooth criminal,
but they're not murderers like a lot of other people on the list.
Yeah, I was going to say that arguably they both do illegal things, but I mean, it kind of.
Not that murders don't happen, but they're not out to kill people. They're involved in crime a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit of crime.
Yeah.
A little bit of crime happens. People die. Yes, you should. Jesse posted it, and I'll try to remember to post it in the show notes for this episode, but Jesse posted it in the chat on Facebook. That Grawlix Cinematic Universe episode is a lot of fun. So
I mean, we talk about Pulp Fiction, which is arguably one of the better movies of all time.
Right.
And then this movie, which is a personal favorite of all time.
No, it's a great movie too. I think most people agree. I will definitely say I would prefer True Romance to Natural Born Killers or California.
So I know I'm jumping around. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
No, do it.
I think True Romance is a more fun or at least amusing, entertaining movie than Natural Born Killers or California.
Yeah.
California is the more like a little bit, it's got humor, but it's a little bit more straight and serious. Natural Born Killers is disturbing and cartoony. Like it's everything.
It does go straight cartoon a couple times.
But this is more, I mean, it's a Tarantino script. So you kind of like, you get a basic idea of what you're in for.
Yeah.
And Savannah says, Savannah, you bring up a great point. She says, I totally prefer True Romance over Natural Born Killers. Fun fact, True Romance and Natural Born Killer started off as the same thing. It was the
Really?
same script idea or whatever
Wow.
that Tarantino was pitching. And I can't remember the specifics, but it ended up like, I guess Oliver Stone got involved and he's like, well, I'm going to go over here and I'm going to take that basic idea anyway and make this movie. While the actual script that came from it, I'm sure there were some changes, got turned into True Romance. Good. I'm glad, Savannah, you mentioned that. I had forgotten about that. Okay, so I'm going to jump up. Not that this isn't weird. There's a lot of okay. Here's a recurring theme, at least on these first few, that I would consider are good movies before we get to the more unconventional picks. A lot of good directors involved, for sure. Because I'm gonna jump down just to keep it 90s, because I'm pretty sure this one's 90s as well. Lula and Sailor from Wild at Heart, which is a David Lynch film starring Nicolas Cage. Listen, David Lynch plus Nicolas Cage. You know you're in for something. And her name is escaping me. Laura Dern, I believe. I'm pretty sure it is.
He has a thing for Laura Dern, huh?
He likes working with Laura Dern. They've worked together a lot.
Can I just admit real quick, I have never seen this movie.
You need to, because of your Nicolas Cage what's the word? Enjoyment. You like Nicolas Cage.
I do.
And Willem Dafoe is in this as well.
Oh my God, Willem Dafoe's everywhere.
Crispin Glover. Like, I was looking at the cast list because I was going to try and rewatch this before we talked, but this is another one of those movies that you cannot stream anywhere. You can get physical copy, but you cannot stream it anywhere.
Billy Bob Thornton left Laura Dern for Angelina Jolie. I don't know their personalities. So if I had an opinion, it'd be based on looks, and that's wrong.
Well, I mean,
that's not a bad change.
Brad Pitt left what's her butt for Angelina Jolie too. I think everybody leaves somebody for Angelina Jolie. And I don't know her personally at all, but I think it's like they're like, oh, she's so beautiful, and then they get with her, and then they're like, God, she's boring. I don't know.
Then they leave, and then who do they
all leave.
Who do they even go to? Like, I don't know who Billy Bob Thornton is with now. I don't even know who Brad Pitt is with now.
Yeah.
Well, after Angelina Jolie, it doesn't matter.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they're
just like broken, shallow shells of men now.
Yeah, they're like, there is no perfect woman. It's done. I'm done.
So this is very much like a lot of these stories that we've done so far. This is the set. I guess when you read the overview, the setup is almost like Con Air, except instead of the Con Air thing happening, he goes and starts dating Laura Dern, and they go.
So instead of being in prison, he starts dating.
No, I mean, he started off in prison.
Oh, that's true.
So he's
I guess yeah. It's whatever. It's Nicolas Cage doing Elvis impersonation the whole movie. He basically plays it like Elvis. He's an Elvis fan, but he like does just Elvis the whole thing.
Right.
It's so. I love me some David Lynch. I do not enjoy this movie. I think this movie sucks. It's not. It is perfectly David Lynch in a specific sort. David Lynch likes to throw in the like weird heightened Americana, like when David Lynch decides to go super colorful versus like black and white, the weird Americana throwback time period version of the world. And this movie almost exists entirely in that. It's very colorful for the most part. And I mean, it's still Lynch, but it's like not parts of Lynch stuff that I enjoy most of the time. And the characters they're none of them are likable. Laura Dern's character, I guess, is okay. Nicolas Cage's character, I can't stand him. I think he's terrible, and he's not
so over the top. Yeah, no, this is not one of my top Nick Cage movies just because he's just not reeled in at all.
Mhm.
Lynch is like, do nonsense. Do
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
Maybe he just didn't have time to dream.
There's-
And so
no, I don't know. Maybe too much time to dream on this one, or he's having the wrong dream. The fairy, what is it? The Good Witch of the West or whatever from Wizard of Oz shows up at the end of the movie for some reason. Like it is still David Lynch,
Mhm.
but it's the colorful world of David Lynch, and that's not a David Lynch world I like to be in. Somehow it's creepier than the dark black and white world of David Lynch.
I haven't seen this movie, so I can't say, but it makes me from other things I know of David Lynch in his colorful world, he kind of has like a, believe it or not, muted. Oh gosh, what's that guy's name that did like Polyester and Pink Flamingos and stuff?
John Waters.
Yeah, he has like a muted John Waters feel to him. It seems
you're
like
kind of right.
when he does not dark weird Lynch.
He likes trailer trash type characters in a way.
Mhm.
They're not necessarily trailer trash people, but he likes those kind of like doing those kind of weird
Mhm.
scuzzy characters, which is how like Nicolas Cage's character in this feels to me.
Mhm. But in like kind of a loving way.
Whereas John Waters is like, they're both satire, but John Waters is more obvious comedy, and David Lynch is just like creepy satire. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Dana points out that it was a decent movie, and a lot of people feel that way about this movie. Like I feel like we right now are in the minority when it comes to Nicolas Cage movies. A lot of people actually like this one, and
Mhm.
for me, it's just not. It's just I don't know. It was highly recommended. I think this was another one of those where it's like someone hyped it up for me, and then I watched the movie and I was like, no.
It's rated really high, so I would
Yeah.
imagine
Maybe it's worth a revisit. And it's interesting. It's definitely not the most mainstream movie that David Lynch has done. It's still got weirdness all throughout, but maybe the fact that it does exist more in a colorful world, and it doesn't go into the weird horror but not horror territory that David Lynch usually exists. So maybe
Mhm.
that's why it's got a broader appeal. Yeah, I'll revisit it sometime.
I wanted to, and because it's been so long. This one came out literally in 1990, so it's been a hot minute since I've seen it.
Oh yeah. I didn't watch it till I was 8 in 1990.
Well,
so
yeah,
I
didn't watch it like right when
Oh.
it came out, but like, it
Mhm.
was prime time. It was probably high school or college at least.
Right.
Well, I'll have to give it a try sometime then.
This and Raising Arizona would be an interesting double feature.
Oh, yeah, that would.
I love Raising Arizona.
Raising Arizona is amazing.
Yeah.
That could almost go on this list, but they're not. I mean, they're criminals, but they're not as criminal. And in this case, I don't remember how. He's not a good dude. He's not a good dude.
I don't. Yeah, I don't think the chick kills anybody in Raising Arizona anyway.
No.
Okay.
Wow, there's a lot of reoccurring because that's Patricia Arquette, isn't it, in Raising Arizona?
No.
Who is it? It's a Patricia Arquette like.
No, it's not.
It is.
No, it's not.
I'm convinced it is.
You can look her up. I can't remember her name offhand, but no, she plays more. It seems like the fast talking business lady and all the things that she does. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Holly Hunter.
I don't know. Hold on.
We're gonna. It is Holly Hunter.
It is Holly Hunter. Yes. Good job.
Okay, she's not a Patricia Arquette type, but
I told you.
In my mind, that's who is in that movie.
I love that you can use like one small descriptive phrase and people can guess. Fast talking business lady Holly Hunter. Bam.
Is that what she usually does?
A lot of her characters are like that, yeah. At least the ones that I've seen.
Yeah, Savannah and Dana know. Okay. I'm gonna hit one more 90s one for sure. This is starting to go into the more unconventional.
Mm-hmm.
Juliet and Pauline. This is definitely not a healthy relationship.
No.
Heavenly Creatures. If anybody remembers Heavenly Creatures, this was like a big Oscar winner, I think, or something in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it didn't win an Oscar, but it was one of those where it's like
It was very
indie but mainstream enough that it like won a bunch of awards and stuff.
mm-hmm. I remember watching it and I was like, what is this weird thing? But I enjoyed it a lot. And
It's
it's
the era of Kate Winslet, anyhow. You know,
mhm.
This was Peter Jackson?
And
wow. Okay.
it was just, you don't usually see things like that. Like this, I should say.
Well, okay, because I don't know how many people, because this is from 1994. We are living in the 90s, apparently. Kate Winslet and Melanie Linsky
Mm-hmm.
are the two main characters. They play young girls, teenage girls. I guess Peter Jackson. It's takes place in New Zealand. That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Directed by Peter Jackson, screenplay by Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh. I did not know this was Peter Jackson. What an interesting career Peter Jackson has had. The fact
Really?
that he started with like Dead Alive or Brain Dead, whatever you want to call the name of it is, just repulsive, insane, gore fest, schlock horror comedies, to like Lord of the Rings blows my mind.
Yeah, like overproduced, beautiful fantasy worlds.
Mm-hmm.
And then you throw in heavenly creatures in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
This
that seems like this actually seems like a good stepping stone, because it's
I guess
it's the creatures are not pretty, but they're very artistic, and it's well done. This is actually based on a true story too. I don't know if you knew that.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the gist of it. It's I don't remember exactly how it goes down. It's been so long since I watched this movie, but it's these teenage girls like fall in love, and so they kind of have, or whatever, infatuation, whatever it is at that age. But so they have this like a lesbian relationship at a time when that's definitely like it's frowned on.
Mm-hmm.
It's a kind of secret thing they got to keep.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, like, I don't remember how it comes about, but it's basically like this happens every couple decades, it seems like. One young girl's like, hey, let's murder somebody. How about your mom? And then they murder somebody.
How about your
One picks
mom?
Okay,
Well,
maybe not. They don't throw the, how about your mom in there, but it becomes that's the like killer in the killer combo. It's not a healthy thing.
It starts because they have a fantasy world that they created together, and in their fantasy world,
where they love hate, or where I just remember the one chick hates Orson Welles.
Okay.
Like there's like Orson Welles is in there for whatever reason, because they watched some Orson Welles movie, and like she's disgusted by him, but it's like this weird sexual thing that's kind of going on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
sorry.
It's okay. They have a big fantasy world that they create together, and in that fantasy world, they make her mom like the villain. So in their delusion that they created with each other, because maybe sometimes teenage girls do that.
Where are the bodies?
They are justified in doing it, in their minds.
Fantasy. Yeah. Okay, so it's total spoilers, which is, I apologize if you've never seen this, but there's one murder scene, and I remember it being very bothersome.
It's because it's very real.
Yeah.
And brutal. Yeah.
Well, maybe watch this. I remember it being a good movie, but not a movie I particularly enjoyed.
Yeah, but well, it's strange, and then it goes like too real, kind of.
Yeah.
Which is the thing that makes all of these types of movies uncomfortable. Like when you're just like poo poo, running around shooting people, it's not a thing. When you're like smashing somebody's head in with a brick, that's a little too real, and you're like, oh, this is actually a person, and this makes me feel bad,
Right.
and that this movie is that kind of movie.
Right. Heavenly Creatures. Have you seen this, Jesse? I'm sorry.
I don't think I have, but
okay. This, for whatever reason, I feel like we used to, back in high school, we'd have movie nights over at a friend's house, me and a bunch of friends, and this would get played fairly often. Which is
Mhm.
Huh.
weird. It's a weird movie to rewatch, but
Yeah.
our host,
It sounds like watching American History X over and over and over.
I feel like that's a movie that I have been around people that like to watch that movie many times. I
Really?
don't know
Right.
why.
I mean, I've seen it more than once, but that's not a
It's
pleasant
a
movie to watch
good
either at all.
movie. It's
Yeah.
an important movie, but
Mhm.
yeah, no.
Yeah. It's like Schindler's List. There's just
Yeah.
just certain movies. They're amazing movies, but they don't leave you feeling good at all.
Paul, we posted about this an hour before we went live.
Oh,
There was, dude, we didn't even know until I was like, so what time? 5:30?
yeah.
And they're both like,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
So I'm like, okay, I'll post about it now.
And then we were still late.
Yeah.
Um,
At
and,
least 15 minutes later than that.
right. And it was pew pew, not poo poo.
Poop. Because it makes Randy uncomfortable.
Savannah says, I don't like watching American History X. American
No.
History X is good, but I don't know. It's not.
Enjoyable.
Why rewatch it multiple times? I don't know.
I think for me it was I watched it and then I was like, okay, so now somebody else has to be subjected to this too.
Right.
And so I had to watch
Yeah.
it again so that they would watch it.
I mean, listen, Schindler's List is a much harder watch for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
I mean, if I believe American History X is still a fictional story.
Mhm.
It's definitely roots in reality for sure, but
Mhm.
Schindler's List I will never watch again. I watched it once.
Mhm.
I get it. It's good. It's fine. Let's move on. Okay.
You don't like to cry.
I never said I cried.
Okay.
Shh.
I mean, I think you get a pass if you cry at that one.
Mhm.
I don't remember crying. I just remember being like, oh,
Mhm.
this is
Yeah.
miserable, man.
For real.
Yeah.
All right.
So now we get into some of the fun couple murderers.
We did kind of get through, for the most part, the more realistic
Mm-hmm.
representations of when couples decide to murder.
Mm-hmm.
When couples attack.
And I feel like we hit like some of the like top tier ones, you know.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of these, with the exception of maybe like Heavenly Couples, I don't think a lot of people would think to add to the list. It's a little different.
That was me. Sorry.
No,
Now we're about to get weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Jesse, I want to throw it to you. Pick whichever one you want. I don't care, but I feel like we've
Oh boy.
dominated so far.
Well, we've got to leave my main pick. We've got to leave that one alone for a while.
Paul says he didn't cry. He ugly cried.
Oh man, yeah.
And apparently, Savannah is the one that I made watch American History X. Sorry, Savannah.
Okay,
Oh.
I know which one I want to do because
Okay.
I was on that episode of GCU, I believe.
Mm.
If not, I feel like I was on that episode, or I heavily inspired that episode
Mm.
where we made Jasper watch
Oh yeah,
Hellraiser.
were you on it?
I don't know if I was on it, but I
think you
definitely was like
recommended it.
Hellraiser.
You recommended it.
I love Hellraiser.
Okay, so Frank and Julia specifically, which are not the married couple in the movie.
Right.
Mm.
This was who threw this idea out for the list? Was that you, Melanie, or was that?
I don't know.
It wasn't me. I forgot about it.
Oh, it might have been me. I think I might have seen it elsewhere, and it was like, oh my god, what a good pick for Frank and Julia from Hellraiser, the first Hellraiser, obviously,
Mhm.
because the first Hellraiser,
So good and so weird.
it is
Mhm.
so weird because I feel like if you haven't seen Hellraiser, the first movie is not what you expect a Hellraiser story to be.
Mhm.
It's not about Pinhead or anything like that. It is this weird love story. That's what it is. It's this horrible love story, and it is horrible.
Yeah.
Savannah also says Melanie had her watch Hellraiser when she was way too young.
Yep. I watched it when I was way too young too.
She's just sharing the pain. She has such sights to show you. Paul says, and this is the best. There are some good lines from this movie. My favorite, though, is "Come to Daddy." It's so creepy. So if you've never seen the first Hellraiser, you totally should. I don't want to go full spoilers, but basically, like Frank, Julia, and I forget her husband's name, but is married to a guy. Frank is the guy's brother. Frank might happen to already be dead, but it's Hellraiser, so he could figure out a way to come back, and he does, and it's amazing. And he kill for me, kill for me. So Julia, part of the movie is Julia. They had some tryst. Is that how you say the word tryst?
Yes.
When he was alive still,
Mhm.
and it's S&M to the max. Where it's like that's Frank's whole deal. He's into sadomasochism stuff.
Mhm.
That's why he comes across the lament configuration or whatever, the puzzle box from Hellraiser,
Mhm.
looking for the ultimate in pain and pleasure.
Yeah.
Paul, you did miss Natural Born Killers. That was the obvious, so we started the list with that one.
Yeah.
And whatever, it's whatever. She has to kill people to bring him back. Essentially,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
amazing. It's
It's
Like
amazing. movie.
rebuilds his body like piece by piece with all
Mhm.
the blood and
It's
tissue.
kind of like Little Shop of Horrors, except not funny.
Right.
Yeah. Feed me.
Frank is Uncle Touchy.
Daddy.
Yes, they have a daughter. I mean, she's an adult daughter, but Frank is real weird towards their daughter,
Mhm.
especially after. We're going spoilers because it's Hellraiser. Okay, listen, watch it anyway.
1987. Yeah.
After Frank happens to be wearing, I don't know, her father's skin, and is
Mhm.
like, "Come to daddy,"
Yeah.
and he doesn't have. He has bad thoughts.
Right.
He has bad intentions.
Mhm.
It's amazing. I don't know, just the idea that Hellraiser it's a love story is what it is. It's
Mhm.
not a love story that makes anyone feel good, but
No.
Because Jesus wept.
Jesus wept and then licks his lips in some like sexual ways. Like, why? Why? There's a story about that line. I don't remember what it was. Like, it was almost something else, but they had to change it because the studio or somebody, maybe Clive himself, was like, I don't really like that line, or it's too much, and they changed it to Jesus wept. And I'm like, I don't. Why though? That makes it creepier because
Right.
generally the movie doesn't have like. There's no like a lot of horror movies play like a religious thing. It's evil, it's Satan or whatever. This Hellraiser actually, despite being Hellraiser, doesn't really. There's
Mhm.
no like weird upside down cross imagery or anything like that I can recall.
Mhm.
But he throws that out at the end out of nowhere, and it's like it feels out of nowhere, but it also feels real gross.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that one.
Mhm.
Recommend it. Watch it with your kids.
Melanie and Savannah turned out fine.
They're totally normal.
Yeah.
Jesse, I'm gonna let you wait.
No, I
You wanna
think
do
I want to
you're
do
gonna
that.
pick?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm gonna pick Chucky and Tiffany from Bride of Chucky and
Seed
whatever.
of Chucky and
Yeah,
whichever ones they
sequels.
are in the future or in
Yeah.
later.
Dolls are pretty scary. And like when they sit on the shelf, dolls are pretty scary. Dolls that murder people are even scarier. So of course,
What-
killer couple dolls.
Yeah, what about dolls that murder people and also have sex?
Yeah, that's
There's not a lot of movies with doll sex. There's a few.
mhm.
Right.
Team America. I'm pretty sure there's
yeah.
Mhm. So Chucky and Tiffany, it's Chucky movies or Child's Play movies, whatever. So obviously it's cheesy and weird, but I enjoy the things that they do with them.
Yeah.
Specifically, I think the second movie that they were in together,
Seed of Chucky, I think.
with when they go for the actual actress.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tilly.
Where-
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's it's stupid fun.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously is Jennifer Tilly? Is that her name?
Uh-huh.
I believe so. Yeah.
Is Tiffany and the Tiffany doll kind of looks like her a little bit. It's a
Yeah.
little bit modeled after at least the style they give her in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seed of Chucky. Bride. Listen, by the time they hit Bride, like they're full on comedies, and they know it.
Yeah.
And there's no attempt to not. Seed of Chucky is about the child they have. It's a
Mhm.
doll as well.
Isn't Bride technically like 4?
Yeah,
Because I think it was just like 1, 2, and 3, and it was like, okay, we're running out of ideas. What do we do now? And they
Mhm.
totally reinvent the franchise by
Uh-huh.
introducing her.
Yeah. And it was great. I enjoyed it way more than I think the third one. And I don't actually even remember the second one that much.
Well, no, yeah. It's a good angle to take because if you can't make scary doll scary, like the 2 and 3 aren't scary, they're just like it just turns into slasher eventually, and you're just
Mhm.
like slasher.
Yeah.
And Chucky's the like icon horror monster thing.
Uh-huh.
And so then especially once you hit 90s, well, what do you do with that? Well, let's go weird goth comedy.
Yeah.
Camp
Bonnie
goth.
and Clyde style. Well, and it was
Yeah.
perfect because it was the era of, all these other movies we
the
were talking about.
90s.
Yeah, what's up with
All
the
those couples
90s?
be killing in the 90s.
Yeah.
What's up with that?
Female empowerment.
But I'm pretty sure that's one of our other icons on the list was born in the 90s as well. That some of these might even be, based on.
I will say Tiffany, and not to downplay the other female characters, and it's not applicable to all the characters we've covered so far, one of the stronger, because like the first couple, Natural Born Killers, True Romance,
California.
definitely California. The chicks are not, they're along for the ride initially, and then if they get into it, they get into it, but like they don't seem to be, like you mentioned, they don't start off the violent streak.
Mhm.
Tiffany is just as bloodthirsty as Chucky, if not more so sometimes.
Mhm.
And there's a lot of there's always kind of fun, not genuinely endearing because we're still talking about Bride of Chucky here, but fun where she surprises him all the time and he's like, oh, wow. Oh, yeah, she's a cold-blooded killer and Chucky's into it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, whatever. That's a good pick. That was a good pick. I enjoy
It
that.
was fun. You know who else is fun?
Who?
If we want to go that way.
Do it. Do what you're doing.
Joker and Harley.
Okay.
Yeah, that's who I was referencing anyways. Like, because Harley was born in the 90s, right?
Joker and Harley as a couple dynamic very much come from the 90s. And my note is, I can't say it exactly, is some versions good, some less good, some less good. Because initially I was like, Joker and Harley from Suicide Squad, not a good, in my opinion, not a good example of it's a crazy killer couple, but like
Harley's another one where it seems like, she would have been a normal person if she'd never met the Joker. But then again, there's got to be something more wrong with her if she's fallen in love with the Joker anyway.
She legit was a normal person until she met the Joker.
Yeah. But there are times in like the cartoons and stuff, specifically, where she doesn't necessarily seem like he's forcing her to do anything. She seems very happy to be doing evil things.
I think they're not. It's not like the best. It's still, there's always a little bit of like, listen, it's the Joker, so he's not gonna be the ideal boyfriend or husband in any relationship.
Yeah.
But I think the cartoon version and some of the comics versions, they're actually a pretty good couple, like a pretty fun couple, and the dynamic is interesting and not totally like, even though she's played off as the sidekick a lot of times, because she's kind of like the girlfriend, but also like his right-hand man or his goon in some of it. But I feel like in some representations, it's pretty balanced. And but then like, I don't know, obviously the Jared Leto, Margot Robbie version of this is not the same type of thing, and not good and rather fleeting.
What is that one graphic novel? I can't remember all of it.
White Knight.
Line, I don't know.
I think it was
the line where he's like, and then it says pudding. And I was like, oh my gosh, what a horrible person he is.
I love that. Yeah, no, Joker is that's
He
where
doesn't even say she, and then it says pudding. Gosh,
this
what
whole
a
like tirade about
horrible.
that might have even been a
person.
Grant Morrison thing. I can't remember which one that was in. But yeah, this whole tirade about this thing that he hates and he just loathes it. He can't stand it. And then it looks at him and says pudding. And it's like, oh my God, he's talking about Harley. Okay.
Yeah, it was messed up.
Paul says they put the fun in dysfunctional.
They do.
All right. Real quick. Is there a definitive Joker and Harley? If so, what is it? Are we talking Batman the Animated Series, Joker and Harley? Or
I think it has to be. That's the
Yeah.
original, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's been done well, but it's always come back to that boilerplate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Are we down? Wait, we got two more. And these are both Jesse picks.
Oh, are they? What do we got
wait,
left here?
Oh,
yeah. We should go with that one next.
Okay.
Do you guys know anything about that one?
I don't.
I
think
I watched the first movie.
I watched the first movie in the theater and have not watched it since, so I don't know.
It's pretty fair. I mean, I don't even know what year that movie came out.
It would have had been like 99.
It's like late 90s or early aughts because every movie looked like this at that time.
Post Matrix for sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like maybe 2000, 2001.
Everything was trying to look like a S&M, like an S&M anime. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It all had that kind of style. The movie, okay, so we're burying the lead on this. What we're talking about is Underworld
from 2003. 2003.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because like everything, even like Daredevil, like everything kind of looked like this. Everything was dark and kind of glossy and had a pseudo anime vibe about it. And so we're talking about Kate, I think it's Kate Beckinsale, who plays Selene, the vampire. She's like the enforcer vampire, aristocratic, wears a corset everywhere like you do, because apparently that's comfortable, or comfort doesn't matter to vampires. And then, I don't know who the actor's name is, but he plays Michael Corvus is the name of the character.
Okay,
so Selene and Corvus.
Is this a real name? Scott Speedman? Speedman?
I guess Speedman. So. Is he related to Jeff Speedman? Oh no, it's Speakman. Jeff Speakman is who I'm thinking of.
Real quick, before we get too far into this, there's a couple things, comments on the Joker Harley thing.
Okay.
Dana had asked, did she have a bit of Stockholm syndrome? I mean, in some cases, yes. In some cases, no. It just depends. Like, there's so many versions of that couple, really.
Yeah.
Because comics.
And the animated version, is what we go by. But I don't know how much they actually delved into.
They did in some of it, because he was kind of, or she was, what's his name's baby, really, like his creation, Paul Dini. So they like to touch on her character.
Okay.
But I don't feel like they really played it off as Stockholm, but in some versions they definitely kind of do, including the whatever the DCEU mess of a universe is right now. That's kind of how they played it at first, maybe.
I thought it was all just like she was trying to understand him and became infatuated with him.
Right.
Which, I mean, maybe that's kind of like how Stockholm syndrome is, but I don't know.
But Paul also agrees the animated series is the best versions.
Yes.
And Paul also says, love me some Underworld. So
yeah, like I watched a fair chunk of these Underworld movies. I don't believe that I've seen the most recent one, and maybe even like it's one of those. It reminds me very much of the Resident Evil movies, where you maybe came for it and then you were kind of enjoying it for what it was, and then at a certain point you gave up. And that's kind of how I feel about Underworld. Like,
gave up, but the series still kept going, so someone's watching.
Yeah. Like I showed up and I really dug the first movie. because I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know it existed. I didn't know, like, I didn't hear anything about it. It's one of those rare movies where it's just plunked down in my lap, and I'm like, you know what, that was cool, and I didn't even know that was a thing, right? And then it incorporates some really great actors at a certain point. You know, like within the first movie, who's the big bad? Victor is played by Bill. I don't know how you spell that. How you pronounce this? Bill
Nighy or Bill Nighy?
Yeah, Bill Nighy. So I was like, whoa. And then we go, like, the first two movies are kind of like, they're kind of I don't know, they're like a duo. You need them together because in that next movie they have Derek Jacobi, and I'm just like, whoa, the cast that this franchise is pulling in is better than it deserves, because it's like, it's not particularly, I don't know, it's not like high art.
It seemed,
you know,
yeah, it seemed a little schlocky, but they definitely pull in, it's like respected British actors and stuff.
Yeah, and I was just like, whoa. So anyways, so the couples, it's like this unlikely duo, and it's kind of an interesting thing where she's kind of the lead, you know, like she's the alpha for sure, because she's a flippin' vampire, right? So and you know, like, without getting into the whole crux of the story, like, they kill a lot of people and a lot of like supernatural characters to keep this Michael Corvus safe because of the dark secret of his lineage. I'll just put it at that. And so, yeah, they kill a lot of vampires. They kill a lot of werewolves. They basically kill all the vampires and all the werewolves.
Yeah. And
that's the thing. They're like Bonnie and Clyde of the werewolf vampire world.
Well, that makes it sound even more fun.
Better. It's like better Twilight, kind of, huh? I don't know.
Oh yeah, I mean, it depends on who you are, but I'd say, for my money, yes, give me Underworld over Twilight. But I also didn't read the books, so I'm not going to go too far.
Hi, Jack.
There.
By the way, hi, Jack. Jack.
Oh,
says,
hi,
hey guys. Peace and love from Ireland. What are you chatting about? Movies with killer couples. We're getting into we're almost to the end of the list, actually, and we're into the very unique picks.
Yeah,
this was a good suggestion. It's definitely not. I seen the first one in the theater and was thoroughly unimpressed and never watched another one. It looks like the most recent was 2016, maybe, was Underworld Blood Wars.
Pretty sure I haven't seen that one.
That's pretty far into it, I think,
because they started doing like prequel stuff. And so we saw that, like, we kept seeing them, and then we saw like the new Kate Beckinsale one where they brought it back to Kate Beckinsale, and it was all right, but it was kind of weird. Like, this thing could have been over, you know. And then I don't know what's gone on since then. So
yeah, I like I said, I'm certain I watched the first one at some point. Maybe I watched another one, but I'm not sure. But I feel like it has the same issue that a lot of shows have anymore, where it's not a bad movie or a bad couple movies, but you know, eventually you just let it go. I mean,
you know, like, the movies of this era, to me, like, going back and watching these movies, it's like, these are movies that don't feel like movies to me. They feel like episodes in a CW show. You know, like this could be an episode of Arrow if Arrow were about vampires.
I don't know. I think it's a little bit better than Arrow, but
it's got a bigger budget, but that's about Dana. And okay, so Dana hits on something that I think is part of the reason that's kept the series going.
Yeah, that's fair too.
Kate Beckinsale in a leather suit does it for me. The buddy I went with, I was like, and you know, he liked some more kind of basic movies, I guess. That was a little bit of shade, but I was like, dude, it's not good. Like, why was it good? And he's like, well, Kate Beckinsale in leather. And I'm like,
I accept that. I mean, Aquaman, I will say, was a pretty crap movie, but I did not mind watching it.
Right.
So
Maybe I'll
okay.
revisit it someday. So yeah, it went for 5 movies apparently. Feature films. I think there's also an animated one, and the 6th was announced, and it was announced that it was Kate Beckinsale is going to be back. It was in development, and then like a year later, Beckinsale said she will not appear in the 6th film. Quote, "I won't return. I've done plenty of those."
She's right. If she doesn't need to do it, then she doesn't need to do it because it's a
Right.
paycheck.
All right.
Apparently in 2016 it was announced there was an Underworld series in development, but as far as that's all Wikipedia
See,
says.
it feels like a TV series to me, so you might as well.
I was gonna say that seems like something that could benefit from an animated series. I'm sure there's tons of fanboys that would jump all over that.
Yep.
Yeah. I for some reason I keep thinking of like, well, The Matrix did it a little bit, but also Star Wars. There's like a whole bunch of Star Wars animated stuff that
Well, I
people
mean,
are crazy about.
I don't know, like I watched the first one. I don't know enough about the world. Obviously they're like, you know what? Werewolves versus vampires basically, and then built out the lore over 5-6 movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Fair enough, man. That's cool.
I will give
that's
it
a lot of world building.
I did think the story behind it was kind of interesting. Not necessarily completely original, but it was done well, I'd say.
2003 was the best time to bust out something like that, I think. So
Yeah.
okay, we have one more. This is maybe the most unconventional because this is the one that you're not going to see on other people's lists. I'm pretty sure.
But listen, if we look at the dictionary definition of what is a serial killer, it's someone who kills over and over and over, right?
Right.
Without remorse. And these two do it.
They certainly do.
They do it, man. Better than yeah. Whoa. I mean, you're gonna have some arguments, and you're gonna say it's because of war. I don't care.
Right.
They do it with impunity. They do it with prejudice, and they do it effectively.
And I think the thing that really, without remorse, you just said, is the thing that I think really sells this idea for me. Because yeah, people be like, well, soldiers, and we haven't even said what it is yet. Well, soldiers, it's war. This franchise never addresses remorse about any of the killing.
No.
Because that wouldn't be fun, right?
No.
But come on. It's like these people have been generations have lived during this war. It's like nobody's gonna be like bummed out about it a little bit. Probably should be.
Yeah.
No one even questions it, right?
So Jesse, who are we talking about? Who is our number one? The ultimate killer couple.
The ultimate killer couples. And you just wait. Just do the body count. I dare you.
Yeah.
It's Solo and Leia. It's Han Solo and Leia Organa of Star Wars. Yeah, we're talking about Star Wars. They kill so many stormtroopers. They're relentless.
You know what? Yeah, if you put their body counts up against the body counts of anybody else on this list, guarantee.
Yeah. Sorry, Chucky. Sorry, Tiffany. Second best.
Yeah. And not just stormtroopers either. Like, there's bounty hunters and random alien creatures. Listen, that, whatever.
George can recut all he wants. We all know the truth.
Yeah.
Han shot first. He's a cold-blooded murderer.
Yeah.
He's not a good dude.
That's before he even met the princess.
Yeah.
You kidding me?
You don't have a kid that turns out that way and not have something going on. A little devious, like some bad upbringing there.
Yeah.
And then how does Princess Leia like show that she's top, like they're like, can you handle yourself? Can you handle a blaster? And she's like, Pyaw! Just saved your life. Shot this dude in the face.
Right.
Like that's first movie right there. That's not even getting to all the people that they kill in Return of the Jedi. Like Return of the Jedi is a bloodbath. Everybody thinks it's so cute because there's a bunch of teddy bears in that movie, but Solo and Leia, they're killing people. left and right in the forest. Count them.
Paul says a bit, or not Paul. Dana says a bit of a stretch, but I'll allow it. I don't think it's a stretch at all. Think about Finn. How many of those stormtroopers are just other Finns out there?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, they could have names.
They probably do.
Mm-hmm.
They just needed a chance to turn around, but Han and Leia, they're not about that.
They kill.
Yeah.
No more remorse.
No remorse, no warning.
No, they just go, bah, like stormtroopers, maybe they miss so often, not because they're bad shots, but because they value human life a little more than those rebel scum do. They're like, oh, I really don't want to kill people. And then there's Han and Leia just like, dead. Yeah. You don't see them miss as much.
Actually, even to get a little more real, I think aren't a lot of the stormtroopers forced it to be stormtroopers, so they probably really don't want to kill anybody for reals. But there you go. They don't give a crap. They're like, oh, look, there's a white suit.
Oh, Dana has a point. They're killing for a cause. They're killing in the name of.
Well, and that's the thing. You could do the soldier argument, and I get it. And let's not think about this realistically. Okay, we're still talking about Star Wars. Okay, we're being goofy here. But where's the remorse?
There isn't.
Where's
any.
their cold blood? Han is a murderer. You can't listen. The George Lucas cut is propaganda. Okay, so McClunky.
Yeah.
You know what it means? You're a murderer. He's probably about to say you killed my brother or something. This is revenge. I'm justified. But nope, Han cut him down.
Yep. In the prime of his McClunky life.
Yeah. McClunky is probably like, please don't. Leah was out for revenge. You're right, Paul.
You're right. She was broken. She was a broken woman. she may be crazy, but so are all the other women on this list. and men.
Why do you think Luke was such a sour old man? He didn't hang out with those two anymore. He'd rather go live on an island and drink blue alien cow milk. So
in fact, Luke might have had the most remorse of everyone. He's like, this is awful. I can't be a part of this anymore. I'm throwing lightsabers off of cliffs.
People said Luke was character assassination. I don't think so. I think he's the only character that was done justice.
Han Solo shows up and he's like, it's all true.
Rain Johnson did nothing wrong. Okay. That's all I'm saying.
If there's anything you could expect from the Grolix podcast, it's hot takes on Star Wars, apparently.
I love it. Jesse said it there. I love it. It's all true. That wasn't like a wonder. That was a threat. Everything you heard, it's all true.
All true.
That is his I'm the one who knocks moment. Okay.
Oh, I'm the oncoming storm.
Yes. That went so much. That was that. I think we have the best list. Out of all
you got to question any list that doesn't have those two now.
Yep. I think we've proved our point.
Yeah. Yeah, and don't give Chewie a pass. He was there for all of it. He just laughs. Yeah, laugh it up, fuzzball.
How do you think they fed him? How much dog food costs?
Oh, God, this got dark.
When you're stuck around the outer edges of
Sorry. Dana.
Oh.
Frighteners. I actually did think of that, but we already had 10.
Real good. Okay, so Dana says his list includes Louis.
Thank you.
And Lestat from Interview with the Vampire and whatnots. And Johnny Bartlett and Patricia Bradley from Frighteners. Both of those I would not have thought of, especially Frighteners. It's been a long time since I watched Frighteners. More Peter Jackson on the list right there.
I love Frighteners. That was one of those movies. like Fifth Element, and there's a couple other ones where I was like, I don't know, but then I watched it and I was like, this is great. I mean, it's not like, the most award-winning stuff ever, but it's a really good story and it's done really well.
I believe it did win some awards for its visual effects.
Did it?
Yep.
Oh wow.
It was groundbreaking in some ways. I think maybe this is the use of CGI for some of the ghost stuff.
Well,
I think is
probably.
where it won. Frighteners is Frighteners looks like to me is a more direct. Oh, what year was that? Was that before or after Heavenly Creatures? Because that seems like a more direct. Oh, okay. I see what happened. That more direct step towards like mainstream movies from Dead Alive and stuff for Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
But I guess you got like the mainstream fun appeal of a comedy type thing, but it still got the comedy horror and then a little bit of Heavenly Creatures for the serious drama. Hollywood will take you seriously. You get Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm still on that kick. Anybody else? Yeah, before we're going to wrap it up here real soon then. Anybody else have any suggestions out there for like great killer couples or movies featuring killer couples that would be a good watch or a weird watch on most of these would be a real weird watch, by the way, for Valentine's Day, despite the fact that these are like all couples, with the exception of maybe like True Romance, maybe Underworld, stuff like that, like weird watches for Valentine's Day.
Unless you're an awesome couple.
Yeah, unless you're cool.
And then it'd just be normal. This is our everyday.
Right. Probably not though. There's probably not a life. It's okay.
It's all right.
Something. Comment later.
Jesus wept.
Come, Daddy. There's a lot of sexiness in Hellraiser. It's not sexy sexiness, but it's some type of sexiness.
It's uncomfortable sexiness.
It's not comfortable. Oh, you don't. What's wrong, Julia? You don't like trying to make love with your husband while creepy Uncle Frank cuts a rat open standing next to you? What is that? What is that scene? What is he even doing? He just creeps in there, cuts a chunk of the rat open, and he makes a rat flap. He cuts it open and flips it open and just stands there looking at her. It's like, what is that supposed to do? All right, everybody. I hope you guys have a good weekend. Hope you guys had a good Valentine's Day. If you care about such things, if you don't, just have a good day in general.
Yeah.
You guys got anything to leave on?
Really don't.
Okay.
Don't.
No.
Clearance candy. Have fun.
Yes. Get some. Oh, what's the best candies? Get some Reese's anything.
Yeah.
Some Rolos, which are not especially Valentine's Day, but they are.
Because I like them.
Yep. Get those like marshmallow hearts. I suppose you could get those at Easter if you miss it, but whatever.
Yeah.
Just stock up now and use those for future holidays.
Yeah. There you go.
Or you could just buy like a barrel of the earwig chalk candy and give those out.
I don't mind those actually.
Sweethearts. That's what. No, is that what they're called?
Sweet tarts? No, those no. But sweet tarts are a different candy.
Yeah.
They probably have sweet tarts, sweethearts.
They do. Conversation hearts. They call them conversation hearts.
Conversation hearts are the things.
Yeah.
The chalky things. Yeah. Okay. Enough of that. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Take it easy, everybody. This will go up on the podcast feed. I haven't figured out when or how, because we have the last live show going up tomorrow. So you know what? Whatever. Hey, podcast listeners in the future, go to grawlixpodcast.com. It's GRAWLIX podcast.com. And just check it out. There's lots of good things. Click links, go places. Be somebody.
Be somebody.
And listen, don't be in a toxic relationship. And if you are, don't kill people over it. All right.
Yeah. If you need to talk to someone, please find someone to talk to.
Yep.
Not us, but somebody.
I mean, I don't recommend us, but
we're not qualified. Okay. Next Valentine's Day. See you next Valentine's Day. We do actually hit Valentine's Day as like a special fairly often. I don't know why. Because you're here. And I'm like, hey, Melanie.
Yeah.
Want to do a thing?
Because we're full of love.
Go listen to our last year's Halloween or last year or the year before Valentine's Day thing.
Mm.
It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, bye everybody.
Goodbye.
Yay.
We love you.